no matter where in America you live. Good evening, I'm Leland Vittert. Regardless of how you feel about abortion, whether you think it's good or bad, you need to know what's happening in Texas right now, because it is totally different than anywhere else in the country. A new law there allows private citizens, any private citizen, to sue abortion providers for performing the procedure and extract huge civil judgments. This goes around the typical government protections for abortion providers. Listening to our liberal commentators today, you would think we are heading to a very dark place.
We've been accused, those of us who have been saying that Roe is about to be overturned, as being Chicken Little, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. We'll see, because it certainly looks like the sky is falling now.
Like, maybe I'm misunderstanding it. This actually lets private citizens who have zero connection to the person getting an abortion take legal action? How does this even work? Why?
Never mind when it comes to my body and the medical decisions that I make with the advice of my doctor. Now, that choice is totally fair game, apparently, to be taken out of my hands and dictated now by a bunch of politicians. That is hypocrisy.
I think the silence is deafening, because for every minute that this law is on the books, and it is as of midnight tonight, last night, today, constitutional rights are being violated.
Yeah. All right, tonight, we are not going to spend a lot of time talking about how this relates to abortion, but as how it relates to one of the most creative laws ever enacted, and how it would be weaponized potentially to attack personal freedoms across the country. We have this covered from all sides. The ACLU is fighting this law. They're going to be here with us in a minute. We're going to cover the countless political footballs that we can count on both parties taking advantage of. But we first should start with Josh Blackman. He teaches constitutional law at the University of Texas. Josh, appreciate you being here with us. He's also the author of an introduction to constitutional law, 100 Supreme Court cases everybody should know. All right, so Josh, this isn't so much overturning Roe v. Wade, but having a chilling effect on abortions in Texas. How?
This law is very creative and unique. Usually when the government has an abortion law, the Attorney General enforces it. But this law does not allow the government to enforce it. Instead, private citizens can file lawsuits against abortion clinics, abortion providers, and those who fund abortion, such as insurance companies. And they're able to bring these suits in state court against as many providers as they wish. So this is an entirely novel and creative way of trying to restrict access to abortion.
All right, so the clinics have said the law would rule out 85% of abortions in Texas and may force many clinics to close. And it seems as though as this law has taken effect, there's a lot of abortion clinics that say, we just don't even want the potential for liability here, so we're not going to challenge this or continue to perform abortions, right?
Right. To be clear, the law sets the mark at 6 weeks, but the law also allows people to say Roe v. Wade is good law and we can rely on it. The court hasn't overruled Roe yet. It may happen later this year, but they haven't done so at this point. So it's not exactly true that all these abortions are prohibited, but I think the clinics have made a valid judgment that they're afraid of liability. There might be liability later if these court decisions are overruled, and they'll basically put out of business. So for now, they've shut down, hoping that some court, any court, bails them out.
You know, there's a lot of Republicans that I'm reading on Twitter who are sort of patting themselves on the back over this one. Texas, obviously a red state. Can blue states turn this same logic around and say, use it in Illinois to go after gun stores or in California to go after restaurants that don't enforce mask mandates?
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. Yeah, this goes down quite far. Imagine California enacts a law that lets private citizens sue gun stores for whatever violations of the law. That law cannot be stopped in court. Every gun store will be subject to 1,000 lawsuits. So this is a bottomless pit that we sort of start going down. But at least for now, I think it's had its intended effect and has chilled abortion providers within the state of Texas.
Now, one of our producers, Andrew Roberts, found this headline: Roe v. Wade will functionally cease to exist in Texas. Subtitle: It's as if Texas is saying we're not violating due process. We're just offering $10,000 to Batman for any jokers who end up in jail. No questions asked. So states could use this to outlaw anything they want if they enable private citizens to be essentially Batman, right?
No, it's not Batman. It's not Robin. It's not Superman. I think this is more a case that certain types of abortions can be regulated, and those are the ones that are being regulated. Again, the law says that you can raise as a defense that you have a constitutional right to abortion under Roe. So even with the current law, people could still defend it, but the problem is they don't want to defend it. They want to keep doing it as they're doing. So really what this law does is it pushes pressure. Usually abortion clinics are on offense. This law forces the clinics to go in defense, and they don't want to play defense. It's a very risky game.
A risky game, especially when $10,000 and up. So the minimum judgment's $10,000. Josh, really appreciate the conversation. Thank you. Great way of explaining it and breaking it down. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Drusilla,